What's the strangest way you've ever made money? When I was in college, I was always broke. I picked up side hustles whenever I could, babysitting, tutoring, even handing out flyers in the freezing cold. But the absolute strangest way I ever made money came from one girl in my psychology class. She wasn't even a close friend. One day after lecture, she tapped me on the shoulder and asked, "Hey, do you want to make some easy cash tomorrow?" Of course, I said yes, who wouldn't? I thought she wanted me to take notes for her, or maybe cover for her in a group project. But then she leaned in and said the weirdest thing: all you have to do is cough. In class. At first, I thought she was messing with me, but she looked dead serious. I laughed nervously and asked why she would ever pay me to do that. And then she explained. Her ex-boyfriend also took the class, and apparently, he had this bizarre pet peeve. The sound of coughing drove him absolutely insane. Not just annoyed, like, visibly angry, lose his mind kind of mad. She wanted to use that against him. And she picked me because, in her words, I had a believable innocent face. She said he'd never suspect I was in on it. So the next lecture, I prepared. I even brought a bottle of water and a few cough drops to sell the act. When the room quieted down, I gave out a single loud cough. Heads turned. The professor glanced up. And her ex, he immediately stiffened, already annoyed. She smirked at me from across the room, like, yep, it's working. Over the next hour, I became a professional cougher. Sometimes a small, sharp cough. Sometimes a dramatic throat clearing. Sometimes a whole fit that made me pound my chest for effect. I timed it perfectly, right when the professor paused for silence, or right as the ex started writing something down. By the third cough, his jaw was clenched. By the fifth, he was tapping his pencil so hard it snapped in half. By the seventh, he was glaring at me like I'd personally ruined his life. The professor even asked if I was okay, offering to let me step outside. I put on my best sick voice and whispered, "I'll be fine." Meanwhile, inside, I was trying not to laugh because her ex was literally shaking with frustration. By the end of class, he slammed his notebook shut and stormed out. The girl casually handed me a 20 on the way out, like I'd just finished a top-secret mission. But it didn't stop there. She asked me to do it again the next week. Then the week after. Each time, I upped my game, bringing tissues, rubbing my throat, even fake sipping cough syrup. Other students started whispering about how I was always sick, and one guy even offered me tea. I had built a full-on character at this point. Eventually, her ex actually confronted me after class. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Do you ever stop coughing?" I just stared back, shrugged, and gave a tiny cough right there in the hallway. He stormed off, and I almost lost it trying not to laugh. By the end of the semester, I had made close to $100 just from coughing on command. Forget tutoring or babysitting. In college, my weirdest side hustle was getting paid to drive one guy absolutely insane, one cough at a time.